Okay, so yesterday was the penultimate episode of Aim to be a Master, making it the penultimate episode of Ash's Adventures, Ash and Pikachu. And I also watched the new episode of Northern War, which is number 11. I don't know if that's the penultimate episode, because I know it's one core. I don't know if it's 12 or if it's 13. I guess I'll find out next week and possibly the week after that. So, these shows to me are basically the exact same thing. Now, of course, the actual, X's and O's are very different. One is about Pokemon, and, this is what it means to be a Pokemon Master. It's about making friends. It's about being able to essentially tame any wild Pokemon, figure out what they need, and help them with it, and kind of go about your business. The other is about political conflict, social unrest. Well, not as much social unrest. I get a little bit. But definitely a lot of political conflict leading up to an international incident. Very different, but to me, they're essentially the same thing. Both of these are based on IPs that I really like. Both of them are based on games and game series that I really like. That I was really excited for. This has a lot of promise. This is the epilogue for Ash and Pikachu. These are their last 11 adventures, culminating in whatever the final episode is going to be. Which from what I understand, it's just Gary goes up to Ash and asks him, all right, you're the world champ. You've traveled the world, done all this shit. You wanted to be a master. Are you? What does that entail to you, and do you feel like you've accomplished it? And just kind of reading that synopsis, Ash and Gary talk about what it means to be a Pokemon Master. I don't know if I've said this on the channel before. I might have. But that synopsis reminds me a lot of the finale of The Good Place. Because I think the synopsis literally just says, people have conversations and, kind of discuss their lives. It's something like that. It's the most innocuous synopsis possible. And I remember at one point just weeping during the finale of The Good Place. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. It is phenomenal. And I'm really looking forward to the finale of this as well, of Pokemon. It's the finale of Ash and Pikachu. Of course I'm fucking looking forward to it. I'm going to probably bawl my eyes out. And the 10 episodes it's taken to get there, some of them have been really good. Some of them have been all right. Because that's the thing. I don't feel like there have been episodes that have just been this whole thing was terrible. But some of them, this is exactly what I was looking for in this show. And some of the others are, this is fine. I like kind of our Pokemon of the week. The Banette episode and the Beartic episode. But I don't know if this is necessarily what I was looking for in this epilogue. To me, Northern War is very similar. Really looking forward to it. Like I've said several times while talking about it, I've been wanting to see Northumbria. I want to know about its culture. I want to know about its politics. I want to see the fucking place. I want to get to know the people. And when it does that, there was that stretch of episodes where it was really getting into, these are the politics. This is some of its lore and its history. This is cool. I'm glad I'm watching this. When they're spending a few episodes dicking around the Empire trying to learn information about a character that I know because I played 5 games with him, it's not as interesting. It's is it nice to kind of see these places from the game? Sure, and I enjoyed the cameos a lot, but it wasn't really giving me anything that new, and I didn't think our new characters were that interesting. Then we get to the part where the show's really interesting for a bit. Then there's whatever the fuck I watched yesterday. It was okay, we're at the war now, I guess, and I guess the war's already over? What? Is there actually a war? The way they talk about it, Cold Steel 3 is no, there was a fucking conflict. We had to get the Bracers in here. We had the Golden Rakshasa in here, and General Wallace. I don't remember what his nickname is. It's something, is it the Black Whirlwind? The Divine Whirlwind? I think it's something like that. I want to say it's the Black Whirlwind. I could be wrong, though. And, and then, Reen, and then the part where Reen fucking goes crazy and starts killing a bunch of people because, he used, what is it, it's his spirit unification. That's it. I was it's not the ogre power. That's what they call it, and then they give it a better name later. He uses spirit unification, passes out during it, And then by the time he wakes up, he's like, oh, I was in Valimar going on a rampage, and I didn't even know what was happening. Oh, I need to stop using this. This power is actually fucking dangerous. Like, I can't wait to see that scene. I can't wait to actually get into the nitty-gritty of the conflict and the war. Like, boy, that just hasn't happened. Maybe they're gonna have to do a new season to actually, like, all of season 1 is the build-up. Like, oh no, I guess it started, but there hasn't really been conflict. Like, Aurelia just kind of showed up in her golden soul out, which I saw that shit, and I was like, oh, it's time. There's Mama. And like, oh, I guess she's not fighting shit. Then what's the fucking point of having Aurelia show up in her soul? It's Aurelia Le Guin. The entire reason she sided with the Noble Alliance in the Civil War was because all the really hype soldiers were on the other side, and she just wanted to fight them. Like, why are you supporting them, Aurelia? Because I wanted to fight you guys. You guys are really strong, and, like, this actually gives me a chance to fight you with, like, everything I have and everything you have. You're insane, and? Like, what made you think I wasn't? Like, I love her, she's great, and then after all this, she gets to become a fucking principal. Oh, she's fantastic, and anytime you get to use her in gameplay, she just looks at things and they explode. It's wonderful, and I'm like, wow, you feel so underutilized here. Like, we got to see Sarah for, like, 5 seconds. Yeah, you would think that a main character who is from Northumbria would be in Northumbria trying to do shit, trying to, like, do what she can to, like, stop a conflict. They're like, yeah, the Bracer Guild isn't supposed to super get involved in those kinds of affairs, but that didn't stop Estelle from, like, negotiating a peace treaty between Prince Oliver from Erebonia when they showed up in the fucking tanks after the, like, blackout Gospel incident in Liberl between, like, him and... It was with him and Chloe or with him and Cassius? It makes more sense, because I remember Cassius was there. Now, Chloe's actually would be the representative of Liberl, so I think it was with her, and Cassius kind of helped. But I remember, like, Estelle's like, Oliver, what the fuck are you doing? Like, Olivia, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, I don't know who you are. I'm the Prince of Erebonia, but, you know, if you're someone who wants to, you know, help with our negotiations, like, you know, if you're actually a bracer worth the damn, maybe that can happen. Estelle's like, you know what? Fuck you. If we're gonna do this shit, fine, we'll do this shit. I'm a B-rank bracer. I know my shit. I've kicked some ass. I will be the neutral party, you son of a bitch. I fucking love that shit. So, like, yeah, bracers aren't supposed to get super involved in political conflicts, like you're supposed to let a nation keep their sovereignty. It's like, yeah, this is her homeland. I feel like Sarah would be like, okay, boots on the ground. What can I do to keep the people safe? Like, I'm not gonna run in there and, like, fucking assassinate the guy in charge. Like, that's out of my jurisdiction. Fuck that. But I can make sure the people are okay. And instead, she's just kind of talking to Lecter like, boy, shit's kind of going crazy. Like, is the Bracer Guild going to do anything? I don't really know what to do because, you know, I live here now. If I go there, it almost looks bad. I'm like, why isn't... I literally think she was there, like, in scenes from Cold Steel 3. Like, they show flashbacks. I remember seeing Sarah. I could be wrong about that. But I figured she was already there, and I guess she's not. So, like, what the fuck are you doing? And, like, the pacing of this episode is, like, you see Rogan giving an order. It's like, this is the shit we gotta do, and then... There's a scene where Estelle and Joshua are there collecting their paychecks for being in this show, where they're talking to some people in Liberl, in Ruin specifically. And they're like, hey, you know, like, I know some shit's happening back in your homeland of Northumbria. Like, the way it's written makes it sound like there are people from Northumbria, because of the shit going on right now, who evacuated the country and ended up in Liberl. How the fuck did you get to Liberl from Northumbria? Because I'm pretty sure you have to go, like, through Erebonia to get there. That's impressive. How the fuck did that happen? 2, I think just, like, a few scenes ago, we were talking about how, like, this, like, the blockade or whatever the fuck is, like, just gone up. How much of this episode is happening in real time? Like, it just felt like the pacing was super off. Like, you have build up to Reen for the first few episodes, and then Reen doesn't really do much the rest of the show. Then you have the build up to the conflict, like, this is what I'm here for. And then the conflict itself is like, all right, the Empire's invading, and Rogan's like, wait, they're invading? Oh, shit. I didn't think they'd actually do that. Like, it immediately made me think of Hitler. And I don't remember what that internet rule is. It's like, or someone's law or whatever the fuck. It's like, yeah, any conversation about politics or whatever, like, verbally go to Hitler. But it's, the story is, after Hitler invaded Poland, he received word that Britain, I believe it was Britain and France, had declared war. And after so many previous invasions of other countries and building power and doing all the shit he was not supposed to because of the Treaty of Versailles, and they appease him like, how you can do that, how you can do that, how you can do that. Poland was the last one. They're like, well, we have to declare war now. You're getting too big for your britches. I believe it was after that Hitler kind of talked to all his generals and shit. He's like, I actually didn't think they would do it. With all this shit they'd let us get away with, I dead ass thought we were going to be able to keep Poland. Like, we were able to take it with no consequence. We're not ready for this yet. But, fuck. Okay. I guess we're going to war, boys. And then, World War II happened. So the fact that Rogan's whole thing has been like, yeah, Glark, you're the guy. I know I'm supposed to talk about Pokemon too. I'll just put a pin. I was like, I got shit to say. But I was talking about Pokemon, then we got into this. But so Rogan's whole thing has been like, Glark, you're the guy in charge. You're this old withered tree. All you do is sit and wait. Like, we got to actually take matters into our own hands and do shit. And now that he's in charge, all he's kind of doing is sitting and waiting, which I don't know if I really like that or really hate that. On the one hand, I'm like, I like that because it's almost like him kind of realizing now that's like, all right, now that I am the guy in charge, everything, like, the buck stops with me. I have all the responsibility to look after everybody. And if I do something too stupid or too, too eager, too aggressive, it can backfire spectacularly, and I have to keep that in mind. I think that's kind of interesting. On the other hand, though, I'm like, you mean this dude, like, did a whole ass coup? Which, granted, Glark was already dead by the time he got there, but he still planned on going to kill the dude. It's like, you had this whole coup planned without a plan. Like, you were talking all this shit about, like, we're gonna go to war with the Empire, we're gonna beat the Empire, fuck their demand for reparations. They can stick them up their asses. We're gonna refuse them. Fuck them. And as soon as they said, oh, you're refusing us? We're invading now. Which everyone kind of knew was going to happen anyways. He's like, what do you mean the Empire that we were afraid was going to invade us is invading us? Like, wait, is he retarded? What is this shit? What? This is fucking stupid. Let's see. We had all those Ouroboros characters make a cameo a few episodes ago, and yeah, haven't seen the Stahlritter since, haven't seen Blue Blanc since, haven't seen Gilbert since. I know at one point they were talking about Ouroboros and they showed some of the Anguisses, but like, yeah, we haven't seen them. Like, we've seen Campanella, he was in the episode, I don't remember what the fuck he did, some shit with the archaisms, there's that one lady who was working with Rogan, but also working with Glark and working with Campanella. It's like, cool, she's the main villain pulling strings behind the scenes. Like, well, yeah, no shit. But I still don't really know what her plan is or what her endgame is. So is she just someone from Northumbria who's playing her own game? Is she a member of Ouroboros? I don't think she's an Anguis. Because we know, okay, so there's 7 Anguisses. At this point in the series, we know who 2, 3, 4 as of Kuro, which was not a replacement. Like, we know who 4 is, 6, and 7. So we don't know the Grandmaster, 1, or 5. She's not the Grandmaster. Unless she is, which, I think she has, like, the same hair color, possibly the same eye color, but this doesn't feel like the Grandmaster. This first Anguis I know is a man, because, like, we've heard that voice. Like, it's a very different voice, and there's already theories about who that person is. I don't know anything about the 5th Anguis. I think I've heard that it is a male, but it's like I think it's in the Trails in the Sky the 3rd. I don't remember what they call their, like, redone versions, like... Yeah, I genuinely don't remember, because I know that there's versions for the Sky games, there's versions for the Crossbell games, but whatever their, like, super versions are, which I think added full voice acting, there's a voice for that character, and I think it's a male voice, so I don't think she's an Anguis. Possibly she's an Enforcer that we haven't seen before, which would, like, this feels like a really big job for just an Enforcer. Like, this kind of feels like an Anguissy thing, but maybe that's why they've got, like, Campanella giving backup? I don't know. Maybe this is someone who is just an asshole and then later is going to join Ouroboros. It's like, oh shit, this does end up becoming an Enforcer. This is kind of interesting. Because it's not like... Because Vita hasn't abdicated, her spot as an Anguis, even though she has some conflicting interests. And she even says, she's like, yeah, I don't really like this shit going on at Gold Steel 3 and 4. The full Phantasmal Blaze plan is ass. I am protesting against it. I'm still an Anguis of Ouroboros. I will still be loyal to my master till my dying breath. I just think this plan is stupid. So it's not like this person's going to replace Vita. I don't really know what her vibe or her shtick is, so I don't feel that interested in her. I think Lavi, our main character, is fine. I don't think she's that great. I don't think she's that bad. I think she's okay. Although the ending of the episode made me laugh really hard. So there's a point where, you know, Reen shows up in Valimar, and Lavi's like, I am Lavian Winslet, a member of the Northern Jaegers. Like, you don't need to be here, hero of the Empire. Go home. And Reen, while in Valimar, just says, gotcha. And then, you know, afterwards, like, he gets outside of Valimar, takes out his sword, and they're about to fight, which is how the episode ends. But in my head, as he's like, you don't need to be here anymore. Go home. Gotcha. I just saw in my head, like, an edit of him on Valimar, like, reversing the footage and him just leaving. And in my head, it was really fucking funny. But, yeah, to me, this show, it had a lot of potential. And at some points, it gave me what I wanted. It gave me the interesting shit about North Amber. It gave me the political conflict leading up to the war. And then all of a sudden, it almost like it forgot that an anime called Northern War about this really big event had to be a war, and 2, a big event. And then just, it's almost like they wanted to do all this build-up, ran out of time, and went, oh shit. Okay, let's just kind of do a breakneck speed pacing, and let's just get to the part where Reen goes fucking crazy and let that be the climax. Which hopefully that's great, and I'll be like, yeah, the show is not that good. It's aggressively fine, but the scene I wanted, I got. It was great. But let's talk about Pokemon. Let's talk about Aim to be a Master, which is how I started, so I probably should have said all my thoughts of it then. But like I said, like, it and Northern War to me are very similar. There's times where it's giving me exactly what I've wanted. We got Ash reunions with Misty and Brock, which was not in Journeys. Silent, which was not in Journeys. Lapras, Squirtle. We've seen a lot of rotating Pokemon. Not all of them. Because like I've said, there's some episodes that don't show... I think the Hatterene episode does not show any rotating Pokemon. The episode where Pikachu and Meowth get separated from everyone, have to hang out, only shows Snivy. Yesterday's episode only showed Swellow. The episode right before only showed Infernape and Hawlucha. And I think there's and then it's the Banette episode only shows Gengar and Dragonite, who are in the Journeys team, so they got their screen time already, so they really didn't need to fucking be here. So there's a lot of episodes, like, in terms of what I wanted from this show, of this epilogue of, I don't know what the key art of the show fucking teased to me with Ash, Misty, Brock, and all of the Pokemon he's ever owned, including my boy Larvitar and Primeape. Just haven't gotten that. And for what I wanted this show to be, for what I thought it was going to be, really hasn't delivered. I was talking to Clay about it yesterday. I was like, so the way this episode ends, because this is the episode, like, all right, this whole Latias arc is coming to a climax. So at the end of the last episode, when she shows, like, all right, this is my brother, he's in danger, I thought it looked like he was locked up in some kind of fortress or some shit. So I was like, oh, Latios has been captured, so they're going to go in and bust him out. So this is almost like a heist episode with Ash as the protagonist. This sounds kind of cool. And then as the episode is going on, no, Latios isn't captured. There's a dude on his ass, but he hasn't captured him or, like, put him in a cage or turned him to stone or whatever the fuck. So what the fuck was that ending? And it's like, so this is already far less exciting, at least to me, instead of, like, we have to go into this dude's lair, which is probably filled with booby traps, full of Pokemon that are going to wreck our shit. No, he's just riding a Hydreigon, which is still cool. He's riding a Hydreigon and sniping Pokemon with something that turns them to stone. He hits Swellow with it. I was like, I know this ain't sticking, but, like, damn, I didn't want to see Swellow get done like that. That was pretty dirty. So it's like, that was relatively cool. And there's a point where Ash is commanding Latios in battle. I'm like, that's really hype. I love that. So then, is he gonna catch it? Nope. Okay, is he going to catch the Latias that's been following him the whole time? That feels like that's kind of what seeing her in every episode of this show has been building up to? No, they just both leave. So what was the point of this then? Like, of this specifically? Because the whole point of Aim to be a Master, this is what it means to be a master. And like I've said in this video, and basically all my others talking about it, what I think it is, it's being able to befriend a Pokemon, to be able to understand it, to be able to tame a Pokemon without resorting to battling it, without having to catch it. By just hanging out, being a dude, and just having those good vibes and that good sense of what a Pokemon needs. And I like that. And even in these episodes that haven't given me the fan servicey shit that I want, the rotations, the reunions, we still get that. I liked that in the Hatterene episode. I liked that in the Beartic episode. I liked that in the Banette episode. This episode does that. I'm like, yeah, like, this is a Pokemon that does not like humans, does not trust them. It trusted Ash to command him in battle. It trusted Ash to ride him. It trusted Ash to, like, apply a potion. You get that. But it did not need all of that, like, hey, this Pokemon is this legendary Pokemon is following him this entire series to build up to what is essentially just another episode of Aim to be a Master. I felt that this was really lackluster in that regard. Like, this is what it was building up to. It's The literal ending of the episode is Latios and Latias leave, and they go to Altamare from Pokemon Heroes. It's not the same Latios and Latias from the movie. Now, it's obviously not Latios from the movie, but it's not the Latias either, because you see Bianca, and then you also see the Latias. You're like, oh, okay, so they're just hanging out. Okay, and it's, like, that scene in particular kind of sums up Aim to be a Master's fan service. If I could describe, like, the best way I can say is, like, it's low-calorie fan service. Like, just saying, like, hey, this pair of Latios and Latias, they're not the ones from the movie, but they live in the same place. It's a way to kind of show this place that we know a lot of people liked. I don't know how well liked the movie is overall by the fan base, but it's one I really like. It's one of my favorites. I think Clay said it was his favorite after our marathon. Like, both of us would say it's really good. I assume it's a movie that most people in the fandom like. Is really, like, here's a nice little bit of fan service, just to show you guys a scene, like, from a movie you guys like. But it doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't really add anything. Compared to, I don't know, Ash finally going to get his fucking Pidgeot that he said, I will come back for you. That's not just low-calorie fan service. Like, here's, like, a little thing and whatever. No, that would actually kind of have some meaning. That would add some closure. Maybe he comes back into the party. That would have been nice. See, again, Primeape, Larvitar. Shit that to me has some value for the story or for the character rather than just, oh yeah, that's kind of cool. I guess even kind of the way they handled Butterfree, because I think it's literally the last shot of Ash in Journeys proper is him reuniting with Butterfree. But we don't actually really get the reunion. We don't really get to see him, like, talk to Butterfree and see how he's doing. See if, I mean, do I really expect him to recatch Butterfree? No, maybe if he caught both of them. That would have been dope. But even then, like, an episode of Ash reuniting with Butterfree sounds like a wonderful episode. Instead, it's like, yeah, here, like, they saw each other again. They reunited. Okay, that's it. Moving on. Like, I wanted more. And man, that's how I feel about Journeys. Wanted more. That's how I felt about Northern War. It's not just I wanted more, I wanted the war. Yeah. We did see Team Rocket again. All three of them separately going, I'm gonna go to the boss, and I'm going back to headquarters, and that was it. So, yeah, I was like, hey, remember their shitty ending in the last episode? It's not their ending. It might not be so shitty. I'm like, yeah, but you still took what had the framework to be a perfect send-off episode for Team Rocket, and then just didn't do it. I hope their actual ending's great. They deserve it, but boy, they just felt disappointing. Boy, this show has been at times exactly what I wanted, at times the exact opposite of what I wanted. Maybe the finale is essentially going to be all the fan service that I wanted. Here is Ash reflecting on all his friends, all his old Pokemon, and really giving me that closure. Maybe there's a montage of him like running into some of those old Pokemon again. And essentially what aimed to be a master is we wrote the finale first. This is where it's going. All the fan service in the other episodes is just the shit that didn't fit. These are some of the Pokemon that just weren't gonna get a chance to shine in the finale, so we gave them their own episodes. Excuse me. I can only hope. I really don't know how the finale is gonna go. Like I said, I hope it's the best thing I've ever seen after 1,200 episodes. I really do. After like 27 years, I really do. I don't know if I have a lot of confidence at this point, given how much I just have not, like, for all intents and purposes, this was the climax of the show, and I felt underwhelmed. I really hope I don't have that same feeling next week.